Welcome to our few minutes together on the Parsha. This week's Sedra is Parsha Shoftim, in which the Jews are, of course, commanded to appoint officers, Shoftim v'Shotrim, Titen L'cha b'chol she'arecha, you should appoint for you in all of your gates. And the appointment of officers and judges to make sure that the law is carried out is essential for any society to properly function. It's interesting to note that the word Shoftim v'Shotrim Titen L'cha b'chol she'arecha, you should put for you, singularly. It doesn't say lochem, for everyone. It says you appointed for you. And one of the commandments, in addition to the officers that need to be appointed, is the commandment to appoint a king. When the Jewish people come to the land and they conquer the land, and in the future there will be a responsibility when the Jewish people return and Mashiach comes to appoint a king over the land. And this king has responsibilities that are enumerated in the Sedra, and one of them is that even though every Jew has to write a Sefer Torah, the king has to have another Sefer Torah, and it has to be with him at all times. In fact, when it talks about the responsibility to have this Sefer Torah with him at all times, the pasuk says, "V'haya kishivto," and it will be as when he sits, al kisei mamlachto, on the seat of his throne of his kingship. V'chosav lo es mishnei atorah hazos al sefer, and he should write this particular Sefer Torah. The interesting part of this Sedra is it says V'haya kishivto, and it will be as when he sits on his throne. Wouldn't the proper expression have been V'haya, and it will be bishivto, when he sits on his throne? Why did the Torah use the terminology V'haya kishivto, as when he sits on his throne? And the Ksaf Sofer was bothered by this particular change just between the letter Beis and the letter Chaf. Bishivto means when he sits, and Kishivto means as when he sits. And the Ksaf Sofer makes an interesting observation. I would suppose, and I guess we could all agree, that if we were appointed king for a day, or if we were appointed king and we knew it would last a long time, but on the first day, then when we would be appointed, on the day we would assume the kingship, it would be a day in which we would want everything to go perfectly right. We know that human beings ultimately make mistakes. It's impossible not to. We all do. We would assume that the first day when we became king, we would want that kingship to be run in a perfect fashion, at least for that first day. We should get it all right. What happens on subsequent days? Well, we'll take it one day at a time. But certainly that first day, we would want it to be perfect. So the pasuk is telling us, you have to have this Torah with you. The Torah has to be with you at all times. But it should be with you not only bishivto, when you're sitting on the throne, but you should look at this sitting on the throne as kishivto, as if I've just taken that seat. I've just taken that position. And it will be kishivto, as when he sits, just like on the first day. You know how many times when we had the opportunity to do a mitzvah the first time, we did it well? You remember the first time that you put a mezuzah up on the door? Or the first time when you had your own money and you were able to give tzedakah? Do you remember the first time that you lit candles? Or the first time you put on a talis or tefillin? So the Torah is telling us that it shouldn't be something that we get used to and make mistakes with, but the king should be symbolic of all the people, and all the people should emulate the king. And just as the king has to have the Torah with him and it's kishivto, just like the first day he assumed his position, so too the Jewish people should always be kishivto. And maybe that's why it says Shoftim v'Shotrim Titen L'cha b'chol she'arecha. You have to give it for you. It's not just for the king. And every one of us, of course, in many senses is the king. Who's in charge of ourselves? Who's the real king? Is the real king our inner natures? Or is the real king the one who makes the decisions to do the right thing because he holds in his hand the Sefer Torah? Reb Tzaddik HaKohen, in his Tzidkas HaTzadik, says that the king is indicative of each and every one of us. And just as the king has to have the Torah with him, Kishiv Tov, so should we, as we approach the end of the year in Chodesh Elul, and we review the past, so should we think to ourselves, what can I do to once again put in charge the king, the one who makes decisions, Kishiv Tov, on a daily basis as I go throughout my life. What a wonderful opportunity Parashat Shoftim offers us in aligning us with the king. We and the king are one. And just as the king is Kishiv Tov, so too we can do the same. Have a wonderful Shabbos.